Hey witches, welcome back to the channel. It's the Wyld Wytch here. I hope that you're all doing amazing. I'm sorry if this window is blinding you. I was trying to get this done before the sun came up, but I'm a little late getting started. So the sun is like, it's rising and it shines directly in my window whenever it does. So I apologize. I also want to apologize for not uploading this video last week. My husband, his store, there was an outbreak of COVID, and every single person in his store got COVID, including him. And then he came home, and our little dog, well, my son's little dog, Scruffy, the little white dog, he ended up getting COVID. Now, we don't know for certain, but I think that's what he got, you know, that he had COVID too. So I was so busy trying to take care of them and keep my son and myself safe, you know, from getting it and scrubbing the house down and all that good jazz. So I do apologize for being late on this video. So with all that out of the way, welcome back to another video in the plant series. Now this is going to be part 2 of the Tievine video. I think it was 2 weeks ago that I uploaded the Tievine video, or it's titled Ipomoea cordatotriloba. And that video, if you've not had a chance to check it out, make sure you go and do so if you want to see me talk about Tievine and how I incorporate her into my practice. So that's on that video. And this video today is going to be me showing you a working incorporating the vine of Tievine. Now I hope that I can tie this up. I harvested it and it's starting to dry out a little bit, but we'll see how it goes. So the working that I'm going to show you guys today is going to be a binding. Now if you don't agree with bindings or you don't do bindings, that's perfectly fine. You can just click off the video right now, or if you want to watch it but it's not something that you incorporate into your practice, that's perfectly fine. That's the beautiful thing about witchcraft. You can, you know, create your practice specifically for you. But I do bindings. I don't have a problem with bindings. And so that's what I want to show you guys today with this Tievine. Now bindings are often used as a way to either restrain something or someone from bringing harm to you, someone else, or even themselves, or it's a way to attach something to you, to someone else, or to even an object. But today's binding that I'm going to show you today is going to be to stop a bitch in his tracks. This person is very abusive to his spouse and children. This mental, physical, and emotional abuse. Now today, for, you know, what I'm going to show you, I'm not actually going to do the working. It's just an example. However, I have done this very working on someone before, and then I've done other different situations but using this same type of working, and it's worked beautifully every single time. I've not had a problem with it. Every time that I've used it, it has came through for me and worked wonderful. It is very simple, but it is very effective. So there are a few things that you're going to need. Now I use a black candle, but I'm using my black candles for Samhain, so I'm just showing you guys with a white candle. Now, you can also use red if you don't have black, or if you're drawn to use red. I've used red for this binding before too, and it works great. You're going to need a black pen or color of your choice. You're going to need an incense stick or cone or loose, you know, whatever it is that you want to use of your choice. You might not agree with the same kind that I use for this particular work-in, but this blend, it smells so good. But anyway, the blend that I use for this particular type of binding, it's dragon's blood, cypress, and juniper. And that's what I use, like I said, for this type of binding. So to restrain, you know, somebody, I use it. You're going to need something to carve your candle with. You're going to need something to light your candle with. Now, you're going to need a current photo of your target, and you want to make sure that there's no pets or other people, children specifically, you know, in this photo, and you do want it to be current. Now, if for some reason you can't get a photo of your target, and you can always check on social media, you know, especially like Facebook, Instagram, because people love posting pictures of themselves, and you can find just about anything online. But anyway, if for some reason you can't get a photo of a person or a copy of a photo, then you can use a petition paper, and that's what I'm using. I just use brown paper bag. I just tear it off. I get fruit and vegetables delivered to my house every week, and they always come in these brown paper bags, and then they're wrapped up in this brown paper. So that's what this is, and you can use that. That's perfectly fine. And you're also going to want a binding oil. I don't know if you can see this. Anyway, this is a binding oil. I actually just made this on the last dark moon that we had, because I had a binding to do as well. So I made this, and I don't know if you can see or not, but it has Tievine in it, and it's tied in knots and tied together, so it's like bound. And then there's a whole bunch of other stuff. If y'all want me to do a video and show you this recipe, just comment down below and let me know. But if you don't have a binding oil, you can use any oil of your choice, something that you're drawn to. Another oil that I've used that works really, really great for this working too is domination oil, or I call it domination oil, dominate oil. That works really good as well. I have used it. And then, of course, you're going to need your Tievine. Now, I do want to mention, too, that 2 different times I've had to substitute Tievine, and I used field bindweed and then your common morning glory, or Ipomoea purpurea, as a substitute, and they worked. Both of them worked. I just prefer Tievine, but if you can't get a hold of Tievine, then give one of those a try and see, you know, how it works for you. I really love Tievine. I think it works quicker, and the target stays, I feel like they stay bound a lot longer. It's just a lot easier, in my opinion. But anyway, so this is what you're going to need. Now, you can do this working anytime that you want to. That's going to be totally up to you. Sometimes we don't even have time to plan, you know, when we're going to do the work, and it might be an emergency and you have to do it right then. But if I have a choice, my favorite time to do this particular working is on a dark moon in the hour of Saturn. It's a bonus if that dark moon falls in Libra or Scorpio. But if I can't do it during this time, then I try for Saturday in the hour of Saturn, when the moon is waning. And again, if I can get it in one of those signs, then that's what I go for. Now, I always harvest my Tievine the day that I'm going to do the working, because, you know, I don't want it to dry out, and I want to have that Saturn energy, because I harvest in the hour of Saturn. So normally what I do the day that I'm going to do the working, when I harvest Tievine, I will harvest I'll harvest in the hour of Saturn in the 1st hour, and then I'll do the working in the 8th hour of Saturn ruling. That way the vine is harvested, you know, in the hour of Saturn, and then the working is done in the hour of Saturn. Okay, so once you have all your ingredients together and you do whatever it is that you do, I have no clue what you do in your practice. If you cast circles, you know, you take a ritual bath, like, I don't know what you do. But once you do all the things that you do to prepare for your working, I want you to get your ingredients, and you want to charge them up. You want to cleanse them, and you want to put your intent in them. And you want to even cleanse your candle. I have this goddess water that I use, and I give my candle a bath in this. You want, like I said, clean all of your ingredients, cleanse them, charge them, set your intent, all that good jazz. Okay, once you're ready to go, so you're ready to start this work. And the first thing that I want you to do is light your incense while you think about this binding that you're doing. And I want you to really tap into your emotions whenever you do this. Then you're going to take, with your incense going, you're going to take all of your items and run it through the smoke. Everything you're going to run through the smoke. So once you get all of that done, everything's ran through the smoke, you're thinking about that binding, you're thinking about your target, their actions, why you're doing this binding. Then you're going to take your candle, and you're going to take your carving tool, whatever you're using to carve, and you're going to carve your target's name and date of birth on the candle. Now, you can do this however you want, but I always start at the bottom, and I write their name, their full, first, middle, and last name, and I go up the candle, and I do their date of birth, and I go up the candle, and I do this 6 times. Now, again, you can do this how many ever times it is that you want, but again, I go from bottom to top 6 times. And while you are carving on your candle, again, I want you to think about that target. I want you to visualize this target, see this target in your mind's eye, your witch's eye, and really, really put those emotions into it, as you are carving your target's name. So my target's name is Ben Dover Bitchcock. Date of birth is June 6, 1969. So that's what I would carve in this candle. Okay, so once you've carved in your candle, you've put your energy and your intent into this candle. Once you feel that it's good, you're going to take your intention oil, and you can put a couple drops on your hands, rub your hands together, and again, you're focusing on this fool's actions. So I'm focusing on this little bitch. I'm focusing on his actions, how he likes to abuse women and children, and how he's a compulsive liar. He's always running his mouth. He starts drama. He's full of hate, negative energy. He's a piece of shit. As I'm doing this, when I feel it's ready, then I start again at the bottom, and I go up the candle, bottom up, and I just cover in the oil and go all the way over, and keep putting that on there. Keep putting your anointing oil on there until you feel that it's ready. You've got your energy into it, and then I will roll it around like this, and go all the way up to the top, putting my energy and intent in it, seeing that person, why I'm binding them, what their actions are, the reasons as to why I'm binding them. And I continue to do this, putting energy and my intent in there till I feel it's ready. Now, once it's ready, I take my carving tool one more time, and I carve, I bind you. And I carve this over the name. So, and I carve it going around this way. So we wrote the name from the bottom to the top, and then I go around. And you can do this as many times, again, as you want. So once that's done, I normally have a little oil, still left on my hands. And so I do it one more time. And then you want to go ahead and light your candle. Okay. So next, you're going to take your paper or your photo, and I want you to first look at your target. Like, really look at this target. If you don't, okay, my pen wasn't writing. If you don't, like, if you have a petition paper and you don't have a photo, that's fine. Look, I made a little person. So that's fine. I want you to go ahead and write their name. So I'm going to write Ben Dover Bitchcock, born on June 6, 1969. I'm going to write it at the top And then I'm going to write it again in the middle, so like around the belly button area. Bend over, bitch cock. Date of birth, June 6th, 1969. Okay, and then I'm going to write under his feet, or if it's just like a head shot or a body shot, like not a full body shot, in your picture, you can just write it at the bottom of the picture. So I'm writing his name again. Bend over, bitch cock. Date of birth is June 6th, 1969. Okay, so see, I've written at the top, in the middle, and at the bottom. Okay, so you're really going to focus your energy, your intent, your emotions. I want you to really, really let your emotions rise. Really feel your emotions. And I talk out loud, like if I'm talking to the person, like they're standing in front of me right now. I talk to them and I tell them exactly what I'm doing, like why I'm binding you. And I say this until my energy, my emotions, it feels like they are just, they have risen so high. It's like, if I don't get it out, it's like I feel like I'm gonna bust, you know. So you want to really elevate your emotions, really, really elevate. And I know I keep saying this over and over about your emotions, but I feel like our emotions are like frequencies, you know. They're like the fuel behind our intention. So that's why I really focus on those emotions that you're feeling, and whether that's hate, anger, whatever. I mean, really tap into those. And you want to, as you're tapping into those and you're thinking about these actions, I see this person in my mind's eye, and I see them doing these actions, you know, and binding. So I might say something like, bend over, bitch cock, you fucking asshole, you abuse your wife and your children physically, mentally, emotionally. You're so full of negative energy. Everywhere that you go, you bring harm to people. You are always running your mouth. You're spreading lies. You're a piece of shit. You know, things like that. And really feel it. When you feel like you're about to combust, you know, like your emotions are just so high, you're going to flip your paper over, or your picture, and you're going to start writing. So I write, bend over, bitch cock, born on June 6th, 1969. I bind you from, and then you write out what you're binding. So maybe I bind your fist so that you may no longer hit another woman or a child. I bind your mouth so that you cannot verbally abuse anyone else, and so that you may not spread lies, you know, so forth and so on. And you write it and really feel like, I'll be digging into it, you know, I'm so mad, and like digging into it, pushing that energy out through the pen and on this paper, and you just write. And you can do this as oftentimes as you like. Sometimes I'll have it like so full, I just put like some little scribbles down here after I wrote the first part out. But it will be so full, I have to turn it, you know, and keep writing. The only thing I say is don't write over your target's name, but everything else you can write over. And like I said, you can do this as many times as you need to, as many times as you want. Sometimes when I'm finished, the back of the photo or the petition paper, it'll just be solid black where I've written so much over and over and over and over. So once you have all of this written, so it's like this, or let me just show you the front so you can see how I'm talking about turning it. Okay, so once it's like this, I turn anti-clockwise and I sign my name over this, because yeah, bitch, I'm binding you. Like, this is happening, I'm doing it. So here's my signature. I'm binding your ass, and you're not breaking through this. You're not coming out of this. You're going to be bound until I say you ain't bound no more. So I sign my name. Okay, flip. So I signed this way. So you wrote this way, sign this way. Okay, then I take my anointing oil and let's see, I'm just going to draw it so you can see in case, well, I don't know if you'll be able to, see it. I'll just try to draw it so you can see it. Anyway, so I take my anointing oil with my finger. I'm going to draw the planetary glyph of Saturn. And I'm going to do it over my target. I'm going to try to make this darker so you can see. And if you can't see and you're not sure what Saturn's glyph is, you can do a quick Google search and you'll be able to see. I don't know if you can see what it is. And it's probably backwards. But anyway, you want to draw with your finger, with your anointing oil. You're going to draw the Saturn glyph over your target, flip it over on the back, and you're going to do it again on the back side. Now, take your anointing oil. You might have to put some more, and you're going to anoint the 4 corners of your photo or your petition paper. So the 4 corners, front and back. So then I put my hands on it, on the photo, and I put more energy and intent into it. Again, feeling those emotions, visualizing. Like you want to completely see your target. I mean, everything, their eyes, their hair, their clothes. Like see their target and see them doing their actions, whatever it is that you're doing. Like Mr. Bitchcock here, he likes to physically, emotionally, and mentally abuse women and children. So I see that happen. I see him causing arguments, fights, because he's always starting drama with other people. He's always spreading lies. So I see this taking place, and I see me binding him, because how do those, like, how does his actions make me feel? You know, what comes up, what emotions are invoked because of this piece of shit. So I really tap into that, and I see me binding him. And I see my target completely bound. Even if, you know, I've had before when targets, they fight back. But no. You ain't getting out of this. You can fight all you want, because I'm binding you and I'm confident in what I do. And I know, bitch, you bound. Okay? So once I've put all this energy and intent into my photo or my petition, then I anoint my hands again. But now you're going to anoint your Tievine. And, you know, you're anointing and giving it that intention that, you know, you're tying this fool up. You are binding him. He will be bound. He will be tied up. There's no way that he's going to break this binding, or your target. You know, there's no way he or she, they, whoever, they're not getting out. So once your Tievine is anointed, okay, then I take my photo or my petition paper, and again it's this way, and I turn it, and now I fold this paper, and I fold it away from me. So fold it away, turn it again, and you're turning anti-clockwise. So you turn again, fold, turn again, fold. Okay, so now, after it's folded, now I roll it up. Roll it like I'm rolling a joint. Anyway, roll it up, and you're going to roll away from you. So once you have it rolled up, you know, it's going to look something similar to this. All right, now I always leave a little bit sticking out, and you're going to, now this is when you're going to start binding. Now again, I bind away from me, so I leave a little bit out because I'm going to do a little knot magic, and this is going to be up to you if you want to do this or not. So anyway, once you're ready, you're going to start binding. And when you bind, you can do this as many times as you want, and I chant as I'm binding all the things that I wrote down on the back of that photo. this is what I chant over and over and over as I'm binding. I'm chanting, and I'm seeing my target bound, like this fool is bound up, and so you're binding, and like I said, you can do this as many times as you want as you're chanting. And a lot of times when I get to the end, you know, it's no longer words, you know, it's just some weird noises that are coming out. So anyway, you do this as often. That little piece broke off, it's starting to dry out. Anyway, do this as often, you know, as you want, many times as you want. And then when you feel it's ready, I tie it in a knot with the piece that's, you know, sticking out. And I do my knot magic. Now, you can tie as many knots as you want. That's going to be up to you. For this particular binding, I do 6. And you can say whatever it is that you want to say as you tie these knots. So, for example, I might say, like, at knot 1, the spell is begun. At knot 2, I dominate you. At knot 3, your fists are no longer free. At knot 4, negativity flies out the door. At knot 5, the spell is alive. At knot 6, my problem's fixed. So once that is bound up, and you say, and that was just an example, like, I don't know. Anyway, that was just an example, just something that came off the top of my head about what I said. But you want to incorporate what it is that you're doing, like how I said, his fist could no longer fly, you know, and then the negative energy, that kind of stuff. You want to incorporate that into what you're saying. And again, you know, you talk to this person, bend over, date of birth, June 6, bend over, Bitchcock, June 6, 1969. I bind you, blah, 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 and say whatever it is. So once the target's bound, no, you don't have to do this, but normally when I do this binding, I'm pissed off. So after I have my target bound up, then I put it on the floor and I stomp it 3 times to really, you know, put that little kick in there. So once I do that, then I take the candle that we lit earlier, and it's like I'm sealing it up. I'm putting more, kind of like, so if your target is trying to fight back, like they're fighting this binding, it's like this is another layer, you know, of another layer of your strength. It's like your energy's blanketing them, your magic's blanketing them. There's no way that they can get out of this binding. So once it's dry, then you can either bury it, if that's what you want to do. You can bury it somewhere off your property, or you can bury it in a cemetery or graveyard. You can put it in like a coffin or black bag, a black box. You want to put it somewhere, I mean, a jar, anything. But the main thing is you want to put it in a dark place that doesn't get light. Now, I do want to say, if there is any possibility that you might want to unbind your target later on, then I wouldn't bury it, or you're going to have to go dig it up and stuff. I would just put it in something where you know where it's at, but it's out of the way from prying eyes. It's in a dark place. And then you can take it and you can cut the binding, separate everything, and then burn it, run it through smoke, like incense smoke or smudge, throw it in running water, bury it, whatever it is that you want to do. I normally cut the binding, separate it, then throw it in my cauldron and light a fire and let it burn up. Then I will take those ashes and blow it to the wind, you know, and that's what I do. Now, if there's a target that I did the binding on and say they're like a very, very, very toxic person, or they maybe addiction, let's just say, you know, addiction to, so like this person I would consider a very, very toxic person that beats his children and you know, wife. So that, or let's say a person that's has a drug addiction and you're binding them from the drugs, then I will put this, I normally put mine in a coffin and put it in a dark spot. That way, like once every 3 to 6 months, I will pull it out and I will put more energy in it. And sometimes if, like it's someone like this motherfucker, this asshole here, I bind him again, just strengthen that binding. And I will do this until I feel that it's enough. You know, just use your intuition. And I will do this, like I said, until I feel it's enough. And then I will bury it, because I have only ever done one binding. That's it. So more than likely, if I'm binding somebody, I'm not gonna undo it unless it's for not a reason like this. But anyway, so yeah, you want to make sure that if there's a possibility, like even the slightest possibility, then you want to keep it somewhere, you know, that's easy to get to. But anyway, like I said, yeah, just cut it. You can just cut it with scissors. And like I said, put it in running water, run it through smoke, burn it in the fire. I love using the cauldron and, you know, burning the fire in the cauldron. But anyway, that's it, you guys. I hope that you enjoyed this. Like I said, if you want to, if you want me to make a recipe, show you my recipe for this binding oil, just let me know. And I'll include a picture of the binding that I did on the dark moon so you can see what it actually looks like, because it's already came to fruition. The person's bound, all this. So the spell has already worked from the dark moon. So anyway, I will put a picture here of, I think I had to, anyway, I'll show you guys right here. Okay, until next time, I hope that you have a wonderful day, and I will see you shortly. I'm not going to make any promises anymore as to when I'm going to upload, because life always gets in the way and ends up making me look like a fucking liar. So, until next time, I hope that you fly high, witches. Peace, homie!